What is up, ladies and gentlemen of the online Jamily? JamiroFan 2000 here with yet another episode of JamiroFan Talks About. For the uninitiated of this series of nearly 7 to 9 years, this has been my periodic discussion series here on the JamiroFan 2000 YouTube channel, looking at the past, present, and future of Jamiroquai and the now over 31 years of musical and influential making. And of course, I'm the Beard of Wisdom, so I got to keep that little catchphrase up. But this episode is going to be a little bit of a revisitation. I've noticed a lot of queries and conversations happening on the Jamiroquai subreddit. Mostly notably around the topic of the first time you discovered Jamiroquai, either individually or in a group. I did do a video nearly 6 to 7 years ago here on my channel telling my origin story of how yours truly, JamiroFan 2000, came across Jamiroquai back in my idyllic days of my youth. And I thought I'd do a little bit of a revisitation of that story for any people who have not been following my YouTube channel for, the full extension of the near 7 to 9 years that I've been doing videos on YouTube about the history of Jamiroquai. So consider this a little bit of a revisitation of the story of how I discovered Jamiroquai, and I thought it was very befitting given that we're on the cusp of their 9th album era sometime in the middle of the latter part of 2025. But for anybody who have not seen my previous videos, aforementionedly, I discovered Jamiroquai back in December of 1992. Now, the picture or the mental frame I give you is that I was in my local independent record store, which in America, independent record stores, at least back in the late 90s, were an amazing bastion for physical music sales and buying a very awesome like vinyls and CD singles and everything. A lot of American Jamiroquai fans looked at their independent record store as a bit of an estuary of self-discovery or discovery of new bands within the stratosphere of other popular music. And for me, stores like Tower Records and Rough Trade and Circuit City and Best Buy were a major musical consumptual estuaries for buying physical music, at least back in the 90s during its last major watershed period of high purchase activity. But I digress. Now, in December of 1992, I happened to be at a local independent record store chain here, at least in my home state, called Plan 9 Music, which, of course, for any eagle-eared people would realize that Plan 9 Music is a reference to Ed Wood and his classic movie Plan 9 from Outer Space. So if you want to see some great B-movie stock movies of hilarity, check out Plan 9 for Outer Space. But again, I digress again. I was at my record store perusing the vinyl section back in December of 1992. And usually, customarily, in independent record stores, they would play music on the in-stereo system of some record stores, to get people talking about or interested in some of the new music that they play in record stores. And it just so happened that fateful day in December 1992, like I said, I was perusing vinyls. Apparently, an Acid Jazz Records vinyl promo was starting to get played in my Plan 9 Music, and all I remember standing there and hearing the first squalls of the Yida key or the didgeridoo for When You Gonna Learn. And I stand there absolutely perplexed at what I was hearing. I had never in my life had ever heard the Yidaki or the didgeridoo up to that point. Now, I was familiar with the Aboriginal instrument, but I had never actually heard it before. But in the first few bars of When You Gonna Learn started playing, I stood there pretty much transfixed by what I was hearing. And then, of course, the horns came in on When You Gonna Learn, and I was absolutely awestruck. Now, there are rare moments in my life where music absolutely just knocks me off my feet, as I like to lovingly refer to it, that catch my attention, and then I want to further explore that music. So I'm standing there for nearly the 3 minutes and 43 seconds of the playing time of When You're Gonna Learn, and I immediately bolted up to the front cashier counter of my Plan 9 Music and absolutely, almost emphatically asked the employee on duty, "What was that you just played? What was that? What was that? What was that?" And of course, the employee with the typical Southern drawl was like, "There's some new British band called Jamiroquai. Let me get the vinyl for you." So he got the vinyl off the player after he finished playing it on the in-stereo system in my record store, and it was like, "Yep, they're called Jamiroquai." And that was the first time I ever heard Jamiroquai. Now, mind you, this was back in 1992, the latter part of 1992, so the internet wasn't fully fleshed out at that point. It was pretty much still regional internet pre-LAN regional internet in the United States. So it would only be probably 1 to 2 years later, out of the Space Cowboy era, that I actually got to explore Jamiroquai, at least in an internet sense, and to meet other Jamiroquai fans within the confines of regional internet, consumer available internet. But that was the first time I ever heard Jamiroquai live, was in that record store in that fateful month of December of 1992. And I consider it one of the major, like I said, watershed moments of me being a music fan, to discover which would ultimately be my favorite band, at least of it with a passion, in the past. But if any other members of the Jamily would like to share their origin stories of where they first heard Jamiroquai, please feel free to share your stories if you have the time and the energy. Down in the YouTube section, this episode, JamiroFan Talks About, down below, there is a thread on the Jamiroquai subreddit with a lot of members of the Jamily. Like I said, the online Jamily has been very active as of the hyping up of this ninth album era on Reddit and Facebook. So, it's good to see a lot of activity in the Jamily online, which, as of recently has been very, very quiet. But if you would like to share your story on how you discovered Jamiroquai in your own time, regardless if you're an old member of the Jamily and OJ or a new member of the Jamily, please feel free to share your origin story of discovering Jamiroquai in your own time down in the YouTube comment section of this episode of JamiroFan Talks About down below. I'm most interested in hearing your stories. But as always, this is JamiroFan 2000, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of JamiroFan Talks About. If you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe and ding the bell on your YouTube to stay up to date on all the latest new content coming from the JamiroFan 2000 YouTube channel. Like I say, I will fully endeavor and try to keep bringing you all the most interesting Jamiroquai content as it becomes available. But as always, this is JamiroFan 2000, and I'll see you again really soon with more Jamiroquai related content here on the JamiroFan 2000 YouTube channel. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care, and thank you again all for the support in this new year, 2025, and I'll see you around with more content. Bye-bye, everybody.